system.
Gets there. Give everybody a minute to catch their electronic breath, and welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. And the first thing on our agenda tonight is approval of minutes of November 16th. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I will so move.
Okay, Priscilla, is there a second? Yeah, Janet, you're muted. That's all right. Got it. All right. So, any discussion? Yeah, again, thanks, John, for a good job on keeping track of what we've been doing. And so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, communications, any communications? The only communication I have is that thanks to everybody, Town Hall is filling up presents for Cornwall young people for the holidays, and thanks Heather for her efforts and her volunteers for keeping everything going. They did say this afternoon they had the highest amount of families since this all started for 2 years at the food pantry. So again, a lot of food's going out, a lot of gifts are going out, and thank everybody. Donations are coming in, so thank everybody for keeping that all going in this holiday season. So any other communications? So then addition to the agenda, I had one which is board goals. Are there any other additions to the agenda? Is
No.
there a second to add board goals to the agenda?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So then first on our agenda is COVID-19 update. Again, we had quite a number of cases. 2 weeks ago, the case count in the town has gone down. Luckily, the school is back to full in-person learning. And thanks again to the staff of the school to handling that well professionally. But there are still cases out there. Heard of several other cases this week in town, so it's definitely out there. And we encourage people to take advantage of the vaccination clinics that are available in the area. I heard that one was so popular that they ran out of vaccines over the weekend. So, and I did hear on the news, I think tonight, the amount of vaccinations nationwide has hit a record in the last week. So again, that's good news, but people may have to be a little more, may have to hunt around a little bit more to get their booster shots and things. So again, we're going to stay on that, monitoring the new variant. And again, we're not out of this yet. We can look forward to spring where things work out better when people be outside more. But the CDC and health experts are urging everyone to be especially vigilant during the holiday season. By all means, celebrate your holidays, but be vigilant and do proper precautions. Common sense goes a long way in making this situation better. Anything else on the COVID situation? Next, we have Sharon Hospital update. Did have a meeting with area selectmen and our counterparts from New York State with the staff of medical doctors at Sharon Hospital. It's the first time I recall having such a meeting, but it was called by the doctors to give the elected officials an inside view of what's happening at the hospital, what some of their concerns are, revolving around primary care and the proposal to eliminate maternity services at the hospital. Meeting went on for over 2 hours. It was very interesting and concerning, and of course we are going to be following up on that with great interest, as most of our townspeople rely on that institution at one time or the other for their either emergency care or primary care or testing or whatever. And there have been significant changes over the last couple of years, downsizing some of the departments, and that is of great concern to many people in the area. So we are again lucky to have our Representative Maria Horn, who's working very hard to get information about what's going on and keep other elected officials up to date with that. But again, I wanted to let you know about that, and I think it would be appropriate if this board would consider a motion of support, just supporting the idea that we support a full service hospital in Sharon. Again, I'm not going to go into specifics about the current proposal, but having a full service hospital is, I think, very important to this area for a number of reasons. And I would continue to urge us to support it. And it is going through a tough time, as are a lot of hospitals right now. Last year was a very tough time for hospitals. Nature of medicine is changing to be more of an outpatient than inpatient business. It's also becoming increasingly, hospitals are owned increasingly by chains or larger organizations, and especially rural hospitals are under tremendous pressure at this particular time. So I would make a motion that this board goes on record as supporting a full service hospital at Sharon.
I'll
Is there a
second
second? Second, Priscilla. Any discussion, Janet?
So, yeah, so like, I know that's in part of our goals, so I think I'd really rather talk about it then. But I want to understand specifically what we as select people can do to support Sharon Hospital and to make sure that we realize that goal of a full service hospital.
Yes, and again, it's not directly addressing this proposal, but realizing we need to have these services in our area, and especially in rural areas, these services are disappearing, and people having to go farther and farther away to get health care.
Yes.
So again, when I think it is important to support the institution and to keep as healthcare as full and robust in our area as possible. Especially one thing we learned because of the many new residents in town and the whole region. A lot of these practices are having more patients than ever, and there's less providers than ever. So that's one of the other things that is related but somewhat separate from the whole the maternity delivery issue that they are seeing at the hospital, and the providers, the medical providers in the area, more patients, more people looking for services. And again, there's a few things more important than people's health. So that's why I'd like to put this out there in our own modest way to support the concept. So any more discussion at this point? And we will be keeping focus on this coming year. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so transfer station update. I see our transportation operator is joining us. Ted, I don't think I've seen you since, well, I haven't seen you in a bit, but I understand we're completed our transition to temporary quarters. I did have a conversation with Jim Terrell yesterday, And he said he is interested in getting going on demoing the office and starting construction on the new place. And see how far we get. I mean, it's the weather is supposed to be mild for the rest of the month. You know, again, it's December, New England. Can be up and down, but he thought he could get a long, you know, a ways into it this month. And I think that might be a good way to go. Any thoughts, Ted? Any updates from the transfer station?
No, we're all moved in, got our electric, we're all set with the computer. That seems to be working quite fine, thanks to my coworker Will. I just got a few more records to move over, and you know, he can do what he needs to do. I just a little concerned. I don't want him to get too far with the foundation and then be locked in, but I'm leaving that up to you and him. So I assume we know where we got to go with that before meaning locked in, meaning weather-wise, where we can't do any more. And we're fine in the trailer. It's comfy. It serves its purpose, what we need to do. So on that part, we're all good. The other thing is we now have one commingled container. It's been a long time in fruition there that we finally are able to use it, and we started using it today. So that's a big deal. People see that a little bit different, and I'm happy about it. Will and I are very pleased about it, and we thank Woody, our mechanic down there, that he's finally get that working, and that'll help us out quite a bit too. So other than that, I think that's about it. I'm not sure if Will's on, if he has anything to add.
So yeah, so that's the new container is working out well. He had to do some fabrication to modify it for our machine, but it sounds like that gives us, you know, something that's in better shape to deal with our large amount of beverage containers.
Yep.
Let's see, one other thing. It's a rumor at this point, and it's not great to be bringing rumors up at a board of selectmen's meeting, but I will. I had a nice visit from the new executive director of the Council of Governments, Rob Phillips. We walked around Cornwall and West Cornwall and looked at some of the issues facing the town. He said he did attend the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities annual meeting, and there is talk of some, you know, statewide resolution or direction in the incinerator issue. So I will keep us in the loop on that related issue too, because obviously that's going to be affecting us all. So, but he did hear there's a working group apparently together trying to work on something that would be mutually beneficial to the municipalities. And
Yeah.
there may be like an interim solution to keep Hartford going for a bit
Yeah.
while they work something else out, is what it sounds like that may happen. So again, there
Yeah.
are people working on that.
Are they, is the COG gonna go back to Zoom meetings or in-person meetings?
Yeah, there's a COG meeting Thursday, and it's gonna be remote.
It's gonna be remote. Is there any
Yeah.
way we can get?
I can get you the link. We can get you the
link to
agenda and
that?
the link. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
we have
I'm
yet
not
to
sure
meet.
if we have any solid waste issues on there or not, but we'll make a
Yeah,
note to
alright.
get
Yeah,
you
'cause
that.
okay, yeah, we used to meet, I don't know, whatever it was, once every couple months or something, and we haven't heard, you know, obviously for a long time. And we have yet to meet the new director there, so but whatever, I mean, we're just to keep us in loop, that's all.
Yeah, I also did talk to Curtis Rand from Salisbury, who did put in the application for some sort of pilot grant for composting at the area of transfer stations. And the grant was turned down, and then he pushed a little bit, and they said, well, this makes a lot of sense, try again. So he's trying again to get some sort of grant to get pilot projects going out here for composting. So anyway, he's encouraged to think there might be something coming out of the state in our direction. So anyway, there is people working on it. And again, we'll try to get that Region 1 group together again soon.
Good.
Okay, any other questions from the board or comments on transfer station? A lot going on, and we look forward to a new upgraded facility there. So next we have appointments and vacancies. We did a lot last time. We've heard from some more people, and thank everybody for volunteering. So we have a couple of more boards that we can hear on. A couple people applied to Park and Rec, and Park and Rec wants to talk to them or figure out, make a recommendation to this board for their alternates, but we do have a couple people interested in Park and Rec. Did get a nice letter from Alan Bond, who has moved to town. And he volunteered to be on the Inland Wetlands Agency or the Zoning Board of Appeals alternate. And as he has been the sole candidate for the Inland Wetlands Agency, and they have pretty big plate, I would make a motion to appoint Alan Bond to the Inland Wetlands Agency as an alternate. Is there a second? Did the board get his letter saying his credentials and
Yes.
accomplishments? And I know he's also joined the fire police, so I've met him, I've talked to him. He seems good and dedicated to the town and has a lot of yeah, a lot of expertise, I think, that will come in handy to that board. So any other thoughts on that? So I'll make that motion. What?
It was very nice to see his enthusiastic letter. I like
Yeah.
it. People express an interest in our town very much.
Got it. So motion made and seconded to appoint Alan Bond. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Economic Development Committee, they met, I believe it was last month, recently anyway. They again have had people express interest in joining that group with, again, a lot of expertise coming to town, people with different types of talent. And so I believe they voted, the commission voted to recommend 3 people to this board for Economic Development Commission, and that is Mayor Rubin, Gary Steinkold, and Bill McLean. So is that right? Is that right, Janet? I believe that's correct. Right. So is there a second in that? Okay, discussion?
No, these
Yes,
are well qualified people.
well qualified, as are the people that they're replacing, and I'd like to thank the 2 selectmen for their time on the commission, and a lot of meetings, a lot of years there, but also a lot of accomplishments. So thank you both, and again, look forward to bringing in some new people, keeping the positive accomplishments going. So any more comments, any more discussion on these 3 candidates? All those, okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, unanimous again. And I think that's all that we have at this point. Again, we've heard from a couple more people, but we're getting pretty close. Still have another inland wetlands, conservation, probably another one on economic development, and planning and zoning board of appeals, but we're pretty close to doing that. And then Park and Rec will get back to us on their things. But we did have, now I'm at my page there, our our own Jonathan Berry has volunteered to be an alternate on the zoning board of appeals. So again, great to have people volunteer. So I'd make a motion that we nominate Jonathan as an alternate zoning board of appeals. Is there a second?
Second,
Second, third? All right, we got three. Great. So any discussion? We all know John well. And again, that will help them. They don't meet super often, but it's good to have more people know about what's going on in that board, because it is an important board when they meet. So
You do a great job.
say again.
You would do a great job.
Okay. You bet. Okay, so any more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, once again unanimous. Thank you, John, for volunteering. And that is our vacancy work to
Which
date.
was that for? P and Z, which one was that for?
John was zoning board of appeals alternate.
Got it.
Okay. Next, we have every year we have to send in our regular meeting schedule to the Secretary of State. So people have an idea when we're meeting. John, do you have a presentation of that? It's generally this first and third Tuesdays. Sometimes we get, have to bump something because of a holiday. I didn't ask. Do you have anything on that?
No, I didn't type anything up on that today.
Yeah.
I forgot, but I could probably read off the dates.
Yeah, why don't you do that? I mean, some holidays tend to fall more on a Monday than a Tuesday, which is one reason we meet on Tuesdays. But sometimes things
So
happen.
let's see. So the first one would be Tuesday, January 4th,
Okay,
and then January 18th.
okay,
They're all Tuesdays. Then February 1st, February 15th. March 1st, March 15th, April 5th, April 19th. Then May 3rd, May 17th, June 7th, and June 21st. July, make sure I'm not messing this up, July 5th, July 19th, August 2nd, August 16th, September 6th, September 20th, and then October 4th, October 18th, November 8th, November 22nd, and finally December 6th and December 20th.
okay,
And none of those seem to fall on a holiday.
great.
So,
All right, so then I make a motion, we set our calendar to those dates. I mean, we'll double check tomorrow in case there are something I can't think of any on the top of my head, but I don't have all the national state holidays memorized, so. So I make a motion, we adopt that schedule, pending it, clarification that we don't run in conflict with any holidays. So is there a second to that?
second,
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
aye,
Next, we have tomorrow night is the hearing for the housing plan. The plan itself is available on the town website. There's been a steering committee that's worked hard to pull this together. And we look forward to a good turnout. I think at our housing forum, we had over 50 people and got a lot of good feedback then. So I imagine we'll get that. And people can write the Board of Selectmen with comments. The procedure will be that we'll have the hearing, then the committee will get back together one last time to go over what they heard at the hearing, and then present this to the Board of Selectmen to vote on at the meeting that's the most convenient. So anyway, again, look forward to that. Did meet another young person who works in town who's expressed how much they'd like to live here today. Interesting dynamic young woman who works here and does a lot of good work and is looking for a place, and closest she could find was Warren. But anyway, I said we still try to keep her in mind and make these changes. And again, for that particular demographic, the idea of having more accessory apartments would be perfect for a lot of reasons. So anyway, there is, I forgot to ask her to come to the housing hearing, but anyway, we look forward to having a good turnout and to hear what people have to say about that. So anything else on the housing forum?
No, that's at 7 o'clock tomorrow, correct?
Oh, yeah, it's good catch, Janet. Yeah, I meant I had that on my agenda. Make sure everybody knows that's at 7 o'clock. So we will have plenty of time for statements or whatever people want to commentary they want to give. 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And again, that Zoom link is available on the website. Next, we have some guardrails that are proposed to be put in at the end of Dibble Hill Road, which it goes over a big culvert underneath the road. There's a very steep drop off, and the wooden guardrails have deteriorated there. Again, we're probably going to keep those galvanized and reflective because it's so narrow. It's hard for two cars to pass there. And again, we want to make sure people know where the edge is. So that may be going on in the next month or so. But again, town's obligated to have an effective guardrail system on its roads, and that's one that our highway foreman feels needs to be replaced and upgraded. Any other thoughts on that? Fairly short section, but important section if you're traveling there. Winter parking ban. We have every year a winter parking ban, which means we pass it. And John, do you want to just read that out? Because what the goal is to get people not to park on the town road or on the edge of the roads, because snow plows, especially in storms, can throw snow a fairly far distance off the road onto people's, not intentionally, but if people's cars are there, they don't have a lot of choice, and it can be an awkward situation or an expensive situation. So the town has a right of way on all town roads, which is generally 30 feet from the center of the road. The roads are generally 20 feet wide, so that goes back 20 feet from the side of the road. So what we request is people don't park in the roads, solve that problem. So it basically tells people not to situate their cars as to interfere with the plowing snow. And again, this isn't a major problem, but we'd also encourage people to get good snow tires. Don't try to put on commercials, but it is pretty common for people to have their car stranded, especially in the first snowstorm. It can be dangerous, can be awkward. So we do try to push good winter driving, parking safety. And I am putting in a Chronicle insert in the January Chronicle with Diane Beebe. We worked up our storm tips, surviving winter storms. And this is part of it. So is there a motion to,
Gordon, did you want to put an effective date on this?
yeah,
It's one thing,
so-
it's an effective date.
yeah, I'd put it, it's effective. Let's make it effective Friday or whatever it is. Give us,
Gordon,
yes.
so it is supposed to snow tomorrow. Is there any concern with having this in place for a potential storm?
That's a good point. Yeah, we could make it effective tomorrow. I don't know. I mean, people are sort of used, this is sort of common sense, people are used to it. It might be good just to cover ourselves that we do that. So yeah, let's change the date. Good idea. Let's change the date to tomorrow's date. I've heard they downgraded the storm quite a bit, but you never know. It's more of like, especially people have holiday parties. It's kind of tough. People have a party during the storm. They have a bunch of people parking on the road. It's really hard to, unless you've been inside one of these large snow plows, it's amazing. It's very tough to get all your distances right. So, but we do a good job. So anyway, well, let's get back to the motion. Then I'll make the motion. Is there a second to have this
So moved.
parking ban? Okay, so there's a motion second, an effective date being tomorrow. Okay, any discussion? All right, so here, no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. And then we had the addition, which is our board goals. And to go over them again, just the things that were on my mind. And again, we don't have to pass this tonight, but I think we should by our next meeting. Set some goals there, or maybe maybe we can hammer it out tonight. So again, the goals for the upcoming term had housing up there at the top. There it is. Adopt and implement the housing plan. Healthcare, Sharon hospitals up there, and
Hey, Gordon,
yes.
is there going to be discussion on each one of these, or how would you?
Oh,
prefer
yeah, we could, maybe that's the way to do it. Let's go down one by one and see if
Okay.
there's anything to discuss or add. And again, this is not a complete list. We can add things.
Good.
Yeah, so let's start. We can vote on these individually. What do people feel about the housing? Again, these are very brief titles to complicated issues. But sometimes it's good to have a brief summary of where we're trying to go. So housing, any thoughts on that, Priscilla?
I think it's important, and I'm glad you have it as number one.
Okay, Janet.
I'm just wondering if there's anything because we're going to adopt the plan relatively soon, I should think. And I'm wondering
Yeah.
if there's other steps that we might want to have as a next goal. Perhaps
Good
like,
point. Well, I mean, I think the housing plan itself has a lot of activities for this board to do.
that would fall under
yeah.
the implementation.
I mean, there's a housing committee that needs to be appointed. There's talk about some sort of housing fund at the bank. There's a lot of things that
Okay,
for us to do under that.
okay,
And again, every year there should be a housing meeting, a town forum on housing. So there's plenty of things and there may be more stuff that comes up
Okay.
during the year, but at this point, we could put it including, so we're not just limiting ourselves to that. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So that looks good. We can just do these by consensus, I think. Does that sound good, Priscilla?
Yes.
Good. Healthcare, and again, that's a very broad topic. But we're seeing we're seeing a lot of, we're seeing increasing amount of healthcare issues pop up here, even over a 1 or 2 year period. I think the health issues, not just the physical issues, but the mental health issues revolving around COVID are major. Opioids are up at a near high. There's a lot of things going on. So what do you think about that group there? Yes, Janet.
Okay, so this is one that I would really love to champion, because it's a topic that is where I have a lot of experience. But I would like to focus, I would like to understand a little bit better about what we could do as far as Sharon Hospital goes. That's something, I want to keep Sharon Hospital on there. I just want to get more specific about it so that we can talk about things that we would, things we would actually be doing more specifically. But then secondly, to address the need for more psychological support, bringing healthcare to town. We don't have doctors, we don't have pharmacies, we don't have physical therapy, we don't have anything. So, exploring and, seeking to bring more pharmacy, physical therapy and primary care with the psychological, where we could have access to psychological services would be certainly one thing I'd want to focus on. I'm just curious how you guys feel about that.
Okay, let's take it one at a time on Sharon Hospital. Because it's a complicated issue, I think one of the biggest things we can do is raise public awareness that there is an issue there. With everybody's overloaded with issues these days, but just saying the issue as far as it's not just maternity, but it's primary care. Kent lost its primary care, and that's a much bigger town than we are. Salisbury doesn't have any. North Canaan's lost their primary care. So, those are bigger towns than we are. And so you're seeing a contraction of primary care providers in the area. So you have two things there. Plus there's going to be in the next year, as when Nuvance puts in there, they operate under a certificate of need from the state of Connecticut. And in order to, they had a 5-year guarantee of a complete full service hospital. In order to make it less than first full service hospital and change, especially the maternity offerings, which are major consideration to the area because of our distance, not just for this town, but especially the towns across the board in New York State, Salisbury, you're talking whatever distance we have to an alternate hospital is much, you add that on to them. So, so there's going to be a process, a public process of the state coming out, and according to Maria Horn, there's going to be hearings, there's going to be testimony filed, there's going to be things. So again, this board or myself will be participating in that process. And again, telling people, as this is an important issue, what the process is, publicizing it. So there's two things we can do as far as Sharon Hospital, plus overall support the institution, the people there on the front lines, as we are seeing a resurgence in COVID cases. As we've done tonight, try to support the whole organization. So there's plenty to be done there. Does that make sense on the Sharon part? To me,
Yes.
that's very tangible. That's very this year. That's right up at the top. Then again, so if that makes sense, the increased need for psychological support, psychological maybe service or care support, that came directly from our social service agent, Heather, asked that we put that in. because just for her caseload again is increasing. Excuse the dogs there. Someone's coming home. Take a time out here for a dog barking.
So Gordon, I have a thought on the psychological, bringing more psychological services. There are a lot of psychological services available, and I wonder if that might be something where we could provide some sort of educational output, whether it's a flyer or add it to the website about free services that are available, reduced services or reduced fee services that are available, and other places where people can get assistance so that they're aware of what is available to them, whether it's Medicaid, Medicare, or if they're private insurance.
Yes, I think that's a great idea because I know like Greenwood's counseling, referral services and things. They are a candidate, or I believe they're a candidate for some of our ARPA funds. Try to increase that. And I know also there is a new regional mental or social service agent opening up in Winston. So there are services out there that people may not know about. So again, publicizing that would be good. Open-ended, and it would be great to have. I totally agree with you. If we get some offices here would be wonderful. Knowing the challenge of that in the area right now, towns are scrambling to try to replace the primary care people they've lost. So again,
I think that there's an opportunity, though. I had a couple conversations, and I do think that there is an opportunity, and it could be a model that would be shared with some of our fellow towns.
yeah, and we have had there have been some doctors that have moved to town that are still practicing. So again, and then have been here. So again, the rural lifestyle is an appeal to people, and I know we have some very talented medical professionals here on a part-time basis. Some of them are going to be full-time helping out. So again, if we can get some, services in town, that would be wonderful. If we can maintain the services regionally, that would be essential. Okay, so then have the safety net, which is, we could elaborate that a little bit more and just say social service safety net, including the food pantry and food and fuel fund. Heather spends a lot of time getting people fuel assistance. The price of oil is up, so she's spending a lot of time with fuel service. So again, very generous donations still coming in. Another flyer going out and a report coming out from Heather, again in the Chronicle insert this month, but vital and increasing. So
Oh, Gordon, one more thing.
yes, one more thing, Janet. Glad to hear ideas.
So there was a conversation that I had with someone who's practiced geriatrics, and one of the things in our town that's missing is some of this home care, and looking into more support for chore services to allow people in our town who have the need to access that service. They've had quite a bit of their funds reduced, which is impacting their ability to deliver services to our older citizens.
Okay. Yeah, we're all listening to our partners there. They're doing all this work. So yeah, no, that's as far as I understand, the caseload in all the above is increasing.
Yes. And the funds are decreasing, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, anything else on that? And again, these are just their goals. And say when we set our goals last time, we didn't we didn't anticipate COVID. So, you know, I mean, we can only be, it can only be do your best to serve. But I think this also focuses us in on these are, you know, these are what they call the bread and butter issues that are there. They're not, they didn't just pop up, but they need to be addressed. On speaking a long time coming, we have the West Cornwall wastewater plan. Hope to get a vote this spring. Again, waiting for Congress to resolve their spending issues, but there's hope around the holidays that may shake itself out. And again, going to be in touch with the Congresswoman's office, see where we're at on the funding end of things. But again, that's a pivotal project for the entire town, based in a village, but still important to the whole place. Updating the transfer station. Those things I think are, again, more have been on the agenda and we're making progress on them, but we need to keep them up there.
I'm kind of one.
Yes.
So I'm wondering for the increasing recycling, compost initiatives, and reducing the amount of garbage. I know that we have some wonderful information on the Cornwall Town website. I'm wondering if it might be an opportunity to take that off the site and, you know, like have an awareness campaign, either chronicle insert, you know, a social media campaign, something that gets the information really out there into people's hands. Because it feels
Yes.
like
I think, yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of citizen interest in all this. We just have to get a program that works. You know, and the goal would be to get our building built and then launch into some new ways of doing garbage in the spring. But
excellent.
there would, you know, there's a couple ideas out there that maybe, you know, there would be major changes. There's some that could be slight changes. And all of them would need some promotion ahead of time so that Ted and Will don't have to explain everything to 200 customers a day. So, but I think we're good on that. And then again, we're working on continuing our town buildings. The main thought is to try to get the town office wrapped up. There is, you know, work at the transfer station and then try to tackle the town hall. I was up at Hammond Beach this afternoon with the HVA looking over our environmental impact up there as they monitor our easement from the Hammond family. I did notice the roof up there is looking a little mossy. We may have to do a roof up there, and there may be projects like that happen from time to time. But the big one's going to be looking at the town hall, which has a lot of interesting details, which have some deferred maintenance on them that may be fairly expensive to redo. Building has no insulation. Doesn't, at least it's not being used 24/7. But there's probably things we could do to take advantage of some new technologies to improve our efficiency of using the building. So then our next one is support improved internet service. And again, there's a couple of innovations or initiatives on that. And there's talk that Optimum's going to roll out a fiber to the home program in the next 2 years. So we'll be participating in that hopefully and encouraging that. There may be some other things we can do as far as improving cell service coverage in the town. Again, a lot of things are mobile now. So there's room for that because that's one thing people notice, people rely on, and life can be challenging at times here. We want to make sure we're plugged in and have decent service. Something else that will come up will be dispersing the ARPA funds. There's one set of money that's coming this year. We have a committee working on that. We'll probably have some reports to make in the next couple months on that. And then there'll be more money coming in next year. So we may be able to do some bigger things as far as housing, or say, maybe jumpstart the West Cornwall wastewater program with some ARPA funds. Because that's one of the big things. Those are two things that are specifically mentioned in that program is dealing with income disparities, housing challenges, and water treatment. We got them all. So anyway, that's exciting. Again, we'll get onto that. And there's a bunch of work on implementing the plan of conservation development that will be coming up. And another thing that's on here, I'm not quite where to put it in, because it's sort of overarching a lot of this stuff, is just to support all the volunteer organizations in town, whatever we can do to help people, good efforts to maintain our quality of life and improve it here, I think should be another goal. I mean, it's sort of said that's one thing that we do, but we don't want to keep, we don't want to take those services or those organizations for granted, as it's a bunch of work to do the work that a lot of these groups do. So we want to keep that whole groups in mind. So that's where I've got. Any thoughts, any additions? Janet's got the hand up.
Okay. I would love to continue to attract new businesses and residents to our town.
Yeah. Okay.
And we can get more specific in that, but yeah, that's an important goal to keep working on.
Right? Can we put the residents in front of the businesses? Or which one do you care? Do you care?
I see them as being equally important.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. It's your idea. It's your concept. You can, good, like it. Priscilla, any thoughts on that?
Nope.
That we're all enjoying a sense of new energy and opportunities here. So we want to keep that going.
But we don't need to get into more specifics. I mean, that can be our goal, and then we can, drill down into that. But I do have specific ideas about that.
Yeah. No, I think it's good just to have that. It's really, I mean, to me, this is it's a really huge demographic change that's happened in the last year or two, and I think it's becoming permanent. And what's really interesting, I mean, the flip side of there not being any houses for sale, that's fairly unique too, because you go to other towns, there's a bunch of houses for sale. If you go across the line to New York State, there's houses for sale. And so despite all our sometimes our controversy or whatever, we are doing something right in that this is still a very attractive place to be and that people want to be here. It's just and I think also the efforts to put it out there that we welcome people here, that we're looking to have people come here is a really important thing, and welcoming when they come in here and not just say, oh, you haven't been here, who are you, or something, I mean, I think that the old welcome mat idea is really important. And I think it's paid off in a lot of ways. So good. Any other thoughts, goals at this point? Priscilla? If we get all that done, we're doing well.
Absolutely. Very well. And you talk about housing. There are currently only 7 properties for sale in Cornwall. and not one of them is under $500,000.
Yeah.
So when we say housing is up there at number one, what I'm thinking about is there a way for us to get another Cougarman Village or something for low to middle income housing? It might be a rental, not a purchase, but that's where I see a real need, because the children that have grown up here in town, there's no place for them to purchase now. There's no place for them if they're ready to start a small business and they want to continue to live here, but not with mom and dad. As a real estate agent, I can't help them.
Right. Yeah.
And that's very discouraging. I have never known it to be so limited in my 40 years of being here.
Yeah, it's really interesting to just find other places that are going through this exact same thing, whether it's, Sun Valley, Idaho, or whether it's Germany. I just read an article about Germany where the new head of Germany is saying they're going to build 400,000 units of affordable housing in Germany in the next 5 years, because the same thing, there's no place for the young generation to live. Same thing is happening in other parts of Europe, in Japan, that there's no place for the young generation to live. And that's, so it's not just us, but it's not just a Cornwall problem, but the solutions and the innovations are ours to make.
Yes.
And that's why I think it is really important, because again, you could say, well, we need more jobs for people in the houses, but clearly now, with also the economy changing and so many people working from home, the housing is more and more key, because a lot of people now are working out of their houses. So
Yep.
that is a huge change over the discussions we were having 15 years ago.
Absolutely.
And again, it's really exciting to see all these people. And again, the work that's been done on getting a good trail system in town that people are using is a huge plus. Having our 4-season recreational thing, as everybody's trying to be outside now, is a huge plus. So again, a lot of this stuff is coming together really well. But we, again, need to have more opportunities for people to be here to make their contribution. And again, one of the things that I got from my meeting with the doctors, where the doctors are almost all my age or older, and they're going to age out. So, any organization needs to think about the next generation coming along. So it's interesting, all these overlaps of all these issues sort of tying themselves together on making a stronger region, a stronger community. Yes, Janet.
So, like one of the things that we can also talk about is, creating an opportunity for some of our older citizens who are ready to downsize. Opens up opportunities for, like other people to move in to grow into that house.
Right. And I think in the housing plan, there are ways that are contemplated in being able to say, put more apartments or make it easier to put apartments in big old rambly houses or whatever. And to Priscilla's point, there is an aggressive amount of, 30 units of rental housing. There's very little rental housing now. 30 sounds like a lot, but it's nothing wrong with trying,
It would be wonderful.
And I think there, if we pulled that off, there'd be a waiting list.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so I think that's good. I wouldn't, if everybody's comfortable with that, I wouldn't mind saying that, just getting this done. Because also then we can give it to our newspaper outlets. Lila can have the scoop, and then we can hand it over to the Chronicle. But I think it's good to get these things out there, so we set our course. Said not that things can't come and interrupt us, or things that we have to work on. But I think having a consensus, this is what we hope to accomplish, so the town knows what we're about, where we're going, what we hope to do, is a really good thing. So then, is there a motion then to adopt this set of goals?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Any discussion? Yeah, I think it's been good discussion. And again, this is just, we could put something in there or something there. We can understand that there's something at the bottom of this list is not complete. There will be things that come up or something
Yes.
in there,
Yeah.
so. But at
Okay,
this point, this is what we hope to do, and we realize things happen that we can't predict, or we may find our priority. Especially, with the weather becoming more erratic, we're gonna see some wild weather in the next 2 years, so. Anyway, but we can't control the weather, I don't think, too much. Yeah. Okay, there's John, subject to change by the Board of Selectmen. And Mother Nature. Okay. Let's see. Any other comments on that? Right. I think it's good to realize our place in the grand scheme of things sometimes. All right. So anyway, okay, so any more discussion? I think it's been
No.
good. All those in favor?
I,
Okay, so those are our goals. All right, good to get all that done. So I think at this point, now we are on to public comments. Is anybody out there? I see the press is there. Any public comments? If you can raise your hand. Need to know, see who you are, if you have any comments. Everybody's stunned. Comments?
Leela?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm all satisfied.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, anyway, hearing no other comments, we look forward to seeing most of you tomorrow night. And anyway, thanks for your help, board, and John for keeping us on the air. Okay, so take care, folks. See you soon.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
I-